A player to watch on the Saskatchewan defense tonight will be linebacker Jeff Treflin, but Nick, the trick will be to find him perhaps.
Yeah, at 5'8", 170 pounds, Jeff is a little bit undersized, and that might present a problem for the Saskatchewan defense. Unfortunately, with injuries to Rasevich and Crane, they need to press him into service tonight.
The BC Lions know full well that Treflin is starting behind this front four, which is good as usual. But the question mark for Saskatchewan, the linebackers. Albright is not 100%, and Jeff Treflin is a small man in big company. The secondary, Albert Brown and Harry Skipper at the corners. Eddie Ray Walker, Richie Hall, and Glenn Suter, the rest of the defensive backfield. Saskatchewan and BC played an exhibition game here, and the Lions were easy winners, but all that has changed after last week's league openers. Saskatchewan, of course, with the miraculous comeback victory over Calgary, and the BC Lions were stifled in Edmonton against the Eskimos. Well, it looks as though we're going to see Jeff Treflin on defense right away, and it is for certain that we're going to see him on the kickoff team as Saskatchewan will boot the ball to the British Columbia Lions. They'll have Anthony Drawhorn and Marcus Thomas along with Darrell Wallace deep. Wallace, the rookie from Missouri. Drawhorn had a 53-yarder against Edmonton last week and averaged almost 28 yards on a total of 4 kickoff returns. Dave Ridgway is the kicker for Saskatchewan. As the Eskimos did early in the game, the Riders keep it away from Drawhorn, and this is Wallace taken down at his 35-yard line.
Well, Matt Dunnigan has to come out tonight and has to do a good job right off the bat. If he doesn't, he's going to start putting a little bit of pressure on himself. He feels that he has to lead this team by example. The only problem is he has a hard time relaxing and doing the job that he's paid to do if he starts to struggle early.
Those are the passing stats. No touchdowns, and the Lions did not like the fact that they didn't run the ball well, so this is predictable on first down. Tony Cherry for a couple of yards, and Jeff Treflin was in on that play.
Okay, here we see on the replay right away the BC Lions are going to start just a straight lead play. The fullback makes it through, and Treflin with good pursuit comes across and helps make the play.
He's quick, we know that, and quicker than most linebackers. Dunnigan on second down with time. David Williams dropped the ball. He had Eddie Ray Walker hanging on him, and David Williams will normally catch that one, but he didn't on this occasion.
David Williams, the longest pass that he caught last week was 29 yards. He got 7 receptions for 110 yards. 29-yarder was the longest, and I think they're looking for a little more production from him when they get into the scoring area.
Well, I thought Andre Francis did a fine job on David Williams last week. There isn't the experience on the corner for Saskatchewan that Edmonton had, but the Riders think Albert Brown, who is their fastest player and is back in punt return formation now, is going to be able to handle Williams, and he had help from Eddie Ray Walker on the Dunnigan to Williams incompletion. Louis Pasaglia leading the league in punting after a week, and here's Albert Brown returning. Bounced off the tackle but didn't get any farther to the 42-yard line, and the fans give their first real cheer for Pasaglia's punt and great downfield coverage.
Well, Coach John Gregory was saying that Tom Burgess reads the blitz about as well as anybody this year. He's doing an excellent job of hanging in there, letting things develop, waiting to the last possible moment till the man breaks open, and then hitting him with the pass.
3 TDs in the fourth quarter against Calgary, and that is the reason he's starting this game. Big hole on first down, and it is a first down for Milson Jones.
Milson Jones, a good fullback, taking the ball up the middle. Now, where they're going to run at, they look like they're going to try to run right up the middle on BC defense, but you got Alondra Johnson, who's a rookie in there.
Saskatchewan taking a page from the Lions book here, going with a hurry-up offense. No huddle. Burgess going deep, and the receiver stumbled and never got into the coverage, and a flag comes down very late because after Ray McDonald righted himself, he was held up by Keith Gooch. I didn't think he had a chance to catch the ball, though, but the official did.
The defender is allowed to protect his territory. In other words, Ray McDonald couldn't see where the defender was. He was looking over his shoulder for the ball. He turns upfield and runs into the defender. If they call that against the Lions, I'd be a little surprised.
Well, it's obviously not a simple call. Roger Aldag, in his 200th consecutive game tonight, is listening on behalf of Saskatchewan, and we'll listen now to Ken Lazarus.
Pass interference, BC number 18, first down Saskatchewan.
I think that was a bit of a break for the, I think the Roughriders got a bit of a break that time. That ball was well overthrown, and BC defender, I think, did a fine job.
It is a first down, Saskatchewan. Burgess again throwing it deep. It is just about caught, but not quite in the end zone, and Burgess testing that secondary.
Well, Tom Burgess is letting them know right off the bat, we're going to go for it. Good strategy, stretch that defense out a little bit. The offensive line does a good job here also. Cleared out the middle, gave Burgess good vision downfield.
Well, McDonald might have caught that ball at the last minute. A BC defender just reached in front of him. So it is 2nd and 10. Overthrown, this time to Narcisse, and it is 3rd down and a chance for kicking points based on the pass interference call.
Well, James Parker's a 2nd all-time leading sacker in the CFL with 121.5 sacks in 9 seasons. And there you see him, again, doing what he does best, just tremendous quickness up the field, really makes that tackle chase him.
Dixon, what's the count?
46-yard line, Glenn Suter will hold for Dave Ridgway. Doesn't miss many, only 11 all of last season, none so far this year except for now. Ridgway is wide, and it's a single point. The Saskatchewan Roughriders take the lead 1-0. There'll be more than a few BC fans who will think that the James Curry interception is reminiscent of one by Michael Gray in the Grey Cup of last year. Matt Dunnigan probably doesn't want to think that way as we watch Burgess throw another home run ball incomplete. I think Nick Bastaya probably remembers the Michael Gray interception. Perhaps more fondly than the BC folks do.
I sure do. Saskatchewan played good man-to-man defense down on the goal line here. Dunnigan thought he was going to get away free. He saw Crane there, so he pulled up, decided to throw. Harry Skipper is having a good game. He tipped the ball, and Curry gets an interception. Maybe he has a bonus clause in his contract or something for that.
Well, Burgess tried to get a lot of yards in a hurry. He's going to the outside men more than you would think. Saskatchewan's strength is with Elgard and Fairholm, but McDonald and Narcisse have had to work. Burgess trying to avoid 2 points, just does that. And he allows Terry Baker to punt from the end zone.
Excellent protection that time by the Saskatchewan offensive line. Now those interior 5 guys have about 47 years of experience together as a unit. And you can see they're just working. They're doing a real fine job. Burgess tries to buy a little bit more time. Just runs out of room. Give credit to the BC defense.
Baker's first punt didn't travel that far in the air. He'll want to hoist one higher this time. From deep in his end zone. Line drive kick opportunity for a good return by Wallace. Riders cover well. Now this is what burned them in Calgary. John Gregory said they did what they were told. They were told to sprint downfield, and they sprinted all right past the football on a couple of occasions against the Stampeders, but they've covered well so far tonight.
Yes, anytime you're covering punts or kickoffs about 7 yards away from the receiver, you start to break down. You start to slow up your body, come under control, be prepared to make the play.
Well, a minute ago, the Lions were at the 3-yard line. Now they're back at Saskatchewan's 42. Big hole, Anthony Parker, and good running from the big man near the 20.
Jeff Treflin again that time lined up to the wide side of the field. One thing about Treflin, he may not be big, extremely quick. Watch him pursue this play. He doesn't give up. He just takes out the legs of Anthony Parker.
And they ran away from him on that play. He was fast enough to catch up. Dunnigan Williams wide open, and he won't drop this one.
David Williams atoning for that earlier drop. It seems evident right now that the BC Lions figure they've found where they're going to go tonight. Just turned around. Albert Brown, Eddie Ray Walker couldn't get over there in time to help out.
Let's see while Matt Dunnigan reacts to a completed pass to David Williams. Dunnigan knows that this one is home free and chalk it up. A convert two by Louis Passaga, and the Lions, who have never lost a home opener here at BC Place Stadium, take the lead 7-1. Nick, forget the incomplete passes. If he can get this wide open, he's going to be awfully for Saskatchewan to stop.
He sure does, because what happens in that case then, they become overly conscious of David Williams. They tried to get help that time from Eddie Ray Walker coming over from his inside halfback position. He just couldn't get there in time. And I think the Lions right now got to feel pretty good about that. They're getting the kind of production that they didn't have last week.
Here's Albert Brown trying to do something with the football. He couldn't keep it away from Williams, and Brown breaks into the clear. He's the fastest man on the Saskatchewan roster.
The idea behind kicking the ball down to one hash mark there is to try and pin the return team to that side of the field. What Saskatchewan did here, though, they took the ball and they set up. You can see them setting up the wall there, and they just managed to, because of Albert Brown's speed, they had time to be able to get the return to the other side of the field. That's pretty unusual. That usually doesn't happen.
One rookie, Robin Belanger, had him and missed him, and then Paul Wetmore came along to make the tackle. They reverse it to Jeff Fairholm with one blocker. About 6 Lions bring Fairholm down at the BC 48.
It almost looked like a Statue of Liberty type of play. Alondra Johnson, the middle linebacker, he's a rookie, so you see him make that initial reaction when he sees the guard pull. They try to chop him. He gets up off of that and gets in on the play. He's just got to wrap his arms around Fairholm.
Second down, they need 3 after the Jeff Fairholm reverse. Tim McCray will get that and fight for 1 or 2 more inside the 45.
Well, we see Matt Dunnigan on the bench. I'm sure he feels pretty good right now. When Matt Dunnigan relaxes, he plays his better games. So I'm sure right now he feels pretty good about what they've done. And all you got to do is just continue working on that corner. I guess they feel that Albert Brown cannot handle David Williams one-on-one.
Well, Brown has physical talents that really impress the Saskatchewan coaches. They say he's the best pure athlete on the team, as well as being the fastest runner. But he clearly doesn't have the experience as a cornerback that it might take to cover David Williams. Burgess, little screen to McCray. Good move by Tim McCray to beat the tackle of rookie Scott Leach, who is grasping for air.
Scott Leach tried to avoid the block that time and kind of left his feet and dove over top to try and make the play. He's got to break down, take on the blocker with his shoulder, and force that play back inside.
For all the long passes Tom Burgess has tried, this is his first completion, and it's a pretty safe one and a good play when Tim McCray is on the other end. Great runner with the football and a fine pass receiver out of the backfield. Another second and short play. McCray popped through a hole, and I don't think he expected to be there. And so the Riders move the ball now in answer to Williams' touchdown for BC.
Little inside trap play. Brian Ellebrun prowling from the right side. Comes across behind the center and traps to his left. And the back just takes it right up and behind there. Just all they need is a little seam right here. You see them. You see it. Just picking up the feet. Just need a little seam. Get the first down.
To the 28-yard line of the Lions, who you are reminded haven't allowed a touchdown yet. The Edmonton Eskimos beat them last week, but didn't score a touchdown in doing so. Deep, Narcisse. It's a battle. All sorts of pushing and shoving there, and no flags. You maybe make a case for interference both ways.
I guess in that situation there, everybody's got a fair chance to get the ball, and they're not going to call anything. Don Narcisse just running straight down the field and just shifting his shoulders, trying to get that defensive back Thomas to turn his head one way or the other, or turn his hips. Ball isn't there.
Well, Burgess continues to look deep to his wide receivers, Narcisse and McDonald, and he hasn't connected yet. Nor has he thrown a pass to Elgard or Fairholm. So the first quarter will end on this play, and again he goes deep, and this time Narcisse is there for the touchdown. He turned Marcus Thomas around, and they tried it and finally got it.
Excellent play that time. Saskatchewan had 3 receivers to the left-hand side. Right away, Burgess came and looked back to his right. What happened was that Streeter, just coming straight down the field, made the fake like he was going to go on a post pattern, got the defensive back to turn his hips, and just broke outside. Ball was beautifully thrown. Touchdown.
Well, Burgess reacted much the same as Dunnigan did. When you got a man like that wide open, you expect to complete the pass. Burgess threw it, and Narcisse caught it, and Ridgway converted the touchdown. And the Riders are back in front. The hero of last week in Calgary has another touchdown. The second quarter will begin with Saskatchewan's kickoff following the Don Narcisse touchdown, and Dave Ridgway will be kicking to Anthony Drawhorn or Darrell Wallace. Again, it's to Wallace. From his 15. Wallace stumbled really over his own man and goes down at the 35. Well, Don Narcisse already this season has 3 more touchdowns than he caught all of last season. 3 this year, none last year.
He's done an excellent. He's off to a good start, and I guess they're going to expect a big year from him. Well, just a one-on-one battle here. Marcus Thomas versus Don Narcisse. You see Narcisse give the fake like he's going to go to the post pattern, turns around Marcus Thomas wide open. The ball's perfectly put.
The difference with Don Narcisse this season, good health. He was trouble last season, and John Gregory says it's like bringing in a new player. This is the guy we thought we had when we signed Don Narcisse. Tony Cherry again breaking tackles. Albert Brown took him down. Albert Brown's a busy man, has to tackle Tony Cherry, which he's done twice, cover David Williams, and return kicks.
Yeah, he's going to be exhausted by the end of the night. Once again, it looks like they're trying to run to where Jeff Treflin is. Appears to be that they're going to try and run in that direction, get either those big slot backs or those big offensive linemen to block on him.
What's the family rate for ice cream? 2nd and 4 as Tony Cherry gained 6. Again, and he goes down, and let's hope he gets up. His ankle might have been turned in a awkward way as Bobby Jurison reached around from behind. He's okay.
Okay, Matt Dunnigan trying to set up. He never really gets a chance to set up because the pressure from the Saskatchewan defensive front 4 is pretty darn good. He never really gets a chance to take a real good look. Finally, Bobby Jurison gets to him.
Well, this is David Williams against Albert Brown. We want to show you this as much as possible, and Brown comes up and stays right with Williams. Dunnigan might have looked that way, and that might have contributed to Jurison's sack. Here's Pasaglio, who has the fans behind him with every punt. And every one this season has been a good one, including this one. The busy Albert Brown. Ushered out, no place to go.
It's difficult. Excuse me. It's difficult when you've got 11 men up on the line of scrimmage like Saskatchewan does. Albert Brown, when he gets that ball, he knows pretty well he's not going to get any help from anyone. He does the best thing he can do is just catch the ball, try to get up the field north-south and get as many yards as you can. Big thing is make sure you catch the ball.
You're surprised at the Saskatchewan passing game? Nothing with Fairholm or Elgard yet.
Nothing yet. I am surprised. I figured they'd try to work on the BC defense because they run so much man coverage.
Well, maybe the first quarter was to set up something for those men in the second quarter. Burgess under pressure throws the ball and throws it in McDonald's direction, but otherwise throws it away.
I think he had the matchup he wanted that time. That's Burgess, because he had McDonald being covered by Kevin Konar. Anytime you've got a linebacker covering a wide receiver like that, you've got a good speed mismatch. Just couldn't get him the ball.
Saskatchewan second down, 10 yards to go. Only 2 completions, but 1 was for a touchdown. Burgess's 4th TD toss of the season. Wilson Jones on second down. suddenly saw a hole open for him, but it's not enough to get the first down. So Terry Baker and the Saskatchewan punt team comes on. Pretty good place to kick it from, near midfield, and Kent Austin is going in on the punt team. Now, what does this mean?
Well, it just the possibility that it might be a fake. I don't know if they're going to try it in this position in the field. They're on their own 50-yard line. They might try it. They might not. At least they're going to make the BC Lions aware that that possibility exists.
Austin's right near the ball. Now he backs away from it. Maybe he was looking for something. Oh, they're going to fake it. Well, we saw Austin come in from the bench, and apparently the Lions didn't, because Ray Elgard, all the way near the 30-yard line, they're going to place him out at the 29, and Kent Austin did the job, taking the snap and flipping it to Ray Elgard.
Very well executed fake. That time Austin comes as one of the up blocking backs that time. He and Milson Jones. He starts one direction, hands it to Elgard on the reverse. Elgard has two blockers in front of him. Lots of room to ramble. And they're in excellent field position right now inside the BC 30-yard line.
Well, a handoff may seem a simple thing, but they felt they needed the quarterback to do it, and he certainly did it well. Now the other quarterback, Tom Burgess, is back in. Marcus Thomas on top of Don Narcisse, but the catch is made by Narcisse.
Well, looks like Saskatchewan, they themselves have found someone that they're going to work on. They're going to get Narcisse matched up with Marcus Thomas, because perhaps they feel that that's the fellow that they can work on. He's got him nervous about going deep on him. This time just stops, comes back to the ball. Ball's beautifully thrown.
A first down at the 17-yard line, and that's last week for Don Narcisse. He's on his way to repeating it. Burgess is taken down by the ankle. Waited a little too long, and his former teammate, Rick Clausen.
Rick Clausen really is undersized. I guess I'd call him an undersized defensive tackle at about 245 pounds. But I don't think anybody in the league plays with more intensity or emotion. He's just one of these guys that he'll keep clawing, scratching, fighting as he's crawling to get the quarterback. Just tremendous effort. I know the Saskatchewan defense certainly misses him.
You're entitled to call him undersized. I don't think I will. The loss on the Clausen sack, second down. Alf Burgess almost had that picked off. Alondra Johnson can see it now. Outrunning everybody to the end zone, and he held the ball. Well, Burgess gets lucky.
Yeah, I don't know how happy Burgess is with himself, because it was good under coverage that time by Alondra Johnson. Burgess seemed to be honed in right away on Narcisse, working against Marcus Thomas. Alondra Johnson comes right across the field on the good under coverage. He got good depth that time, knocks that pass down.
Ridgway is 0 for 1, which is one of the unusual parts of this game. Another is that Jeff Fairholm and Ray Elgard have not been part of Saskatchewan's passing attack. 28-yard field goal, and Ridgway seldom misses 2 in a row. The lead is 4 points for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Albert Brown was ruled out at the 18-yard line, so the decision not to concede the single point, not terribly successful. No gain on first down. Walter Ballard is in there quickly for BC. Roger Aldag, as we said, is playing in his 200th consecutive game. Now, Nick, in your career, you played 212 games. Not consecutively, though. What a feat it is to go 200 without missing a game at that position.
Yes, it is. Roger just keeps himself in fantastic physical condition. What can you say? The guy's just an all-pro.
Burgess again to the outside, working on Marcus Thomas, and Don Narcisse has another catch and a first down.
Yeah, what's happening now is the same thing. Don Narcisse has got Marcus Thomas in trouble, a little bit of trouble early in the game. So all he's doing now, he's running him off the ball, and they're going to pick up 5, 6, 7 yards. And that's not a bad position to be in second down.
Will be a play from the sidelines here. James Ellingson is in for Jeff Fairholm at the slot. Unless there's something wrong with Fairholm. Doesn't appear to be the case, though. Slant play, Tim McCray. And he's close to another first down. The key to the offense, according to John Gregory, is number 14, Tim McCray.
Yes, Tim caught 7 passes last week against Calgary, and that's very important for a CFL running back. You have to be very versatile in a league that does as much passing as this league does. Good reads, just outruns a couple people, but the pursuit catches him eventually, and there's 4 guys in on the tackle there.
Kevin Dixon, a former Lion, joins Jones and McRae on second and short yardage. Burgess ahead himself, trying to pick up the first down, and he would appear to have it.
I think the red and blue 75 is a good play because if we cover in routes with the halfbacks, and freaking Thomas can't cover anything. So if it's man-to-man, he's got a curl. He's got a curl every time if the in routes aren't. Or 79.
I don't know how much they appreciate Marcus Thomas's coverage abilities there on the Saskatchewan sidelines.
Well, there are different ways of saying it, and that's the way they have it viewed on the Saskatchewan bench. Burgess, first catch for a slot back, and it's Jeff Fairholm, and flags come down, and he still runs. They grabbed his face mask, and that's the reason for the penalty flags.
What they're doing is they're trying to run a little bit more pick plays with the inside and the outside receivers, because BC Lions play about 90% man coverage. The best way to defeat that is have two receivers.
Face mask, BC number 18, first down Saskatchewan.
You have two receivers crossing in the same area. What happens is one receiver is going to pick or rub off the cover man so that one guy will come free. Pretty good chop in the neck there.
Well, all of that, they couldn't bring Fairholm down, and it's a first down Saskatchewan from the Lions 21. Burgess threw it at the last minute. Narcisse with a great catch. He is doing it all tonight.
Amazing. It's just amazing how Tom Burgess is willing to stand in there and really gets rocked with a hit with a pass rush coming right up the middle. He just hangs in there the last possible moment. Tremendous athletic ability by Don Narcisse going up high over Marcus Thomas to haul in that pass. I'm very impressed right now with the Saskatchewan offense. They're doing a tremendous job.
John Gregory says with a twinkle in his eye, there's a tendency around the league to underrate our wide receivers. And Don Narcisse and Ray McDonald really haven't put up numbers to indicate that they should be feared, but that's changing very quickly early in this season. The 28-yard line, Dunnigan pumps once, throws it deep, Williams and Brown. And Williams dove, and there'll be an interference call on Albert Brown, who gets the finger pointed at him by David Williams as well.
Matt Dunnigan held in real well, got hit by James Curry as he released the ball. I think the ball was where they wanted to be. If David Williams wasn't going to get it, no one else was. But that was pretty good coverage that time, I thought. I just didn't see from behind the play.
Forward pass interference, Saskatchewan number 4, first down.
Okay, here we'll see David Williams getting his release off the ball. Makes it look like he's going to do a quick out, then takes it up the field. There is some banging going on down there. I guess from that angle, yeah, you could call it.
Now it's first and goal, and from this angle, we'll watch Matt Dunnigan's first down play. Parker, he is in. Anthony Parker's had a lot to do with the Lions offense when it's been successful, and he scores a touchdown. Gets the home team right back in the game.
I think a lot of people thought that this game was going to be a defensive struggle. Just good blocking up front, find the seam, keep moving, keep those legs driving. He's 225 pounds. From there, an arm is not going to stop him. You have to meet him head on and knock him back.
Saglia's convert, if successful, would reduce Saskatchewan's lead to 4 points once again. Louis is good. Well, this does resemble a memorable game last season when David Williams and Ray Elgard dueled. Tonight it might be Williams against Don Narcisse with a little bit of Anthony Parker thrown in for the Lions.
Man-on-man blocking straight ahead. Nothing fancy about that play. Just get your splits, occupy the man in front of you, let the back pick his own hole and score.
Larry Donovan says it is possible for the Lions to go to David Williams too often, but you almost wonder why they'd try anything else when he can catch balls the way he did last season, the way he did last week, 7 of them, though he didn't score. And here tonight, he has one touchdown and drew a pass interference call to set up another.
I think Larry Donovan would probably like to see more production from the other side, Eric Streeter. If he could get him involved a little bit more getting the ball, I think he'd feel better about having a more balanced attack instead of relying so heavily on David Williams.
Tim McCray will watch this one go out of bounds, and they'll make the Lions do it again from 5 yards further back. 4:54, rather 1:54 remaining in the second quarter. And when the Riders get the ball, what do? Start throwing it to Narcisse again?
It seems that it's going to be just a duel of the bombs, one side to the other. Larry Donovan wasn't concerned. He was concerned about his offense yesterday when we spoke with him. He wasn't concerned about his defense, but right now he's got to be a little bit concerned about his lack of pass rush on the Saskatchewan quarterback. Had a lot of time, a lot of chance for his receivers to get in the open.
Saglia does not want to kick an Albert Brown to the point where he'll kick another one out of bounds. Brown is dangerous, but with all of the work he's getting on Williams, you'd think they might want to tire him out by having him return the kick.
Well, what Louis trying to do is to get that ball between the numbers and the sidelines. Get the running back, the receiver to go over there, catch the ball there, and then try to pin them to that portion of the field. That means you don't have to cover. If he kicks it down the middle, they've got to cover either the left, the middle, or the right. Just kicking it down to the left, they hope to pin him to that side.
Well, this is a kickoff from BC's 25-yard line. I don't think he can be getting too fancy now. Well, we'll just see where the ball goes. You're Albert Brown or Tim McCray right now. You are, in fact, McCray again, and he could have let that one bounce to see what happened, but Tim McCray is going to try to bust one to the wide side of the field, and the Lions have it covered for the moment. Now McCray back up the middle, midfield, 51-yard line, BC. It paid off. It didn't look as though there was going to be room for McCray, but he persevered and wound up getting some blocking help.
Saskatchewan didn't do what seemed to be the obvious thing that time. Instead of just taking it up that sideline, what they did was they brought it all the way back across the field. You see the personal protector, Alapati, trying to get out in front, trying to block some people. They had him there, just couldn't wrap him up, and he cuts it right back inside, and the pursuit gets to him late.
Alondra Johnson reached about 3 times for McCray. Never did get him. Jones hit at the line of scrimmage. Leach now comes. And he's got help from Walter Ballard and others, and it is no gain for Milson Jones.
That was excellent. That was excellent contact that time in the line of scrimmage. You see Mac Moore penetrate across the line. Meet Milson Jones right there. Milson bounces off, and then they get Scott Leach to finish wrapping him up, along with some help from Walter Ballard.
Well, wide to the right is Don Narcisse at the top of your screen. He'll meet Marcus Thomas out there. They have met before. Burgess will keep trying. Narcisse had to come back to that ball, and better results for the Lions as it is incomplete.
I guess there is such a thing as going to the well too often. This time, all the way right from the beginning, looking for Narcisse. Marcus Thomas reads that, when the ball's thrown, breaks up on the ball very well, makes a good play there.
Really, it was Narcisse preventing an interception more than Thomas knocking Narcisse out. It was thrown closer to the BC defender than to the Saskatchewan receiver. So Baker, looking up at the clock, seeing 1:20. And that clock stopped. Will punt. Or will he? He's left-footed. He's not going to get it off. And you tell me, did the Riders want to do something there, or was Baker forced to run with it?
I think it was forced to run with it. Obviously, they didn't have anything planned that time, because I don't think Terry Baker, with all due respect, has a foot speed to outrun the defenders that time. What happens is those 2 upbacks have to do a better job of taking those middle rushers, and what happened was that Wes Cooper came in there and knocked down, I think it was Milson Jones, and just put too much pressure. Baker got spooked out of there.
And John Gregory's not happy. Just over a minute to go, and the Lions down by 4. They have a chance from close to midfield to get closer on the scoreboard or maybe take the lead. Cherry in full flight. Almost beat 3 Saskatchewan tacklers. Albright is way back there to bring him down, and this Saskatchewan defense, shorthanded coming into the game with 3 men on the injured list, looks to be wearing down now with Treflin hurt. Quickly to the ball, still over a minute to go. The Lions out here to Cherry, and he is hit and will lose yards. Richie Hall, a nice play, as Dunnigan just threw that a little too far.
Now, he was throwing it from the far hash mark over like a breakout to this side. That's an awful long throw. It gave Richie Hall lots of time to react up on that pass.
Williams ambling back into the huddle, won't go all the way, gets the signal and runs out there again. It is 50 seconds and counting right now. Second down, Lions. Dunnigan is rushed. He is down. He took a arm in the face and throws the ball down in some disgust way back at his 50-yard line.
Well, on the play previously, Matt Dunnigan made an excellent read, just took the ball. He saw 5 linemen rushing. There's only 2 linebackers that couldn't cover Cherry. This time, of course, what happens is that 2 of those 5 rushing linemen get to him before he can make his read.
Here's Williams and Brown again, and Eddie Ray Walker there as well. Well, Curry's had a big game on defense for Saskatchewan, probably the most prominent rider. Half a minute to go. Pasaglia taking all of the time at his disposal. Here's Albert Brown now. Dragged down at the 25-yard line with 18 seconds left. The Riders, if they want to protect the ball, can safely go into the dressing room with a 4-point lead.
John Gregory's got to be pretty happy with his production here. Again, they were a little bit beat up coming into this game this week. They'd had a rough game against Calgary. He was a little bit concerned about their condition, but so far they don't seem to be showing any ill effects from the humidity and the warmth in here.
It sure is. Well, Burgess will throw it. No, he won't. And he has to be careful to hold on to the ball as Mac Moore sacks him with 13 seconds remaining.
Very dangerous that time. I guess he was trying to, I don't know what he's trying to do here. I mean, you got 18 seconds. He's trying to look backside to dump the ball off to Milson Jones, I believe it was, and Mac Moore comes in unmolested. You see it right here. There's just too much pressure up the middle. It looked to me that perhaps they were trying to set up a screen, but I don't know if that's such a good idea down there. You got to put that ball away and don't take a chance on getting it knocked out of your hands and losing it down there.
Now, the screen's not a bad idea if it sets up, but what you don't want is your quarterback to be vulnerable 7 yards from the goal line with that guy bearing down on him. Burgess probably didn't protect the ball as much as he should have. Now the Lions predictably have called timeout with 13 seconds left. So what happens now is Saskatchewan will probably fall on the ball to get the clock moving again and then do it one more time to end the half. Burgess just checking to be sure. Well, a close game, and we could have expected that. There was not a game won by a double-figure margin in the first week of this season. There are 4 points separating these teams in this one. The Riders actually run a play and don't just fall down on the ball. This time they might.
BC is going to give them that. They're just not going to. They're going to let everything develop in front of them. They're not too overly concerned, I don't think, because Saskatchewan's fairly deep, and Saskatchewan's got to worry about running out the clock. Again, don't get too fancy down on your own end. When you get fancy, bad things happen.
Riders in the huddle when the whistle blows with 9 seconds left. They'll let it run down to 0, and you can see what they'll do then. Snap the ball, and Burgess will hang on to it, and the first half ends with Saskatchewan in possession of a 4-point lead. It is Riders 18 and the British Columbia Lions 14. Tom Burgess only completed 6 passes in the first half, but they were for 122 yards, so 20 yards per completion won't be too bad, although it doesn't do his percentage any good. He didn't have a good percentage last year. That was the difference between Austin and Burgess. Burgess below 50%, and that's not nearly good enough. Matt Dunnigan was up around 57, and the Lions want him to be better this year. Larry Donovan says we should be able to approach 60% completion percentage with our passes.
Yeah, he feels that with Matt Dunnigan's ability to evade pressure sometimes, he buys himself extra time. It gives the receivers extra time to get open also, and he feels that, yeah, 60% is something that we can achieve.
The Lions scored 15 points in 4 quarters at Edmonton last week, 14 points in 2 quarters here tonight. Saskatchewan, the highest scoring team in the first week with 32, although for 58 minutes of that game against Calgary, it didn't appear that would be the case.
That's just going to make them better, Dave. A little more experience working together as a unit this year, and any time that you can come back from behind like that, big victory, just makes the team feel better about themselves, makes them feel that for 60 minutes we're in a ball game, we can win this at any time.
John Gregory points out that nowhere but in the CFL could that comeback have been achieved. The CFL provides for that. It breeds such comebacks, and if you play in this league and if you watch it, you learn to expect it. And he said never at any time, and he said it with a straight face, did we think we had lost that game, even though they were down so far with less than 2 minutes to go.
Well, that last 3 minutes of a ball game can be an eternity, especially if you use the clock wisely, throw the ball out of bounds, get your people out of bounds, stop the clock.
Rather a short kickoff by Pasaglia. It's going to force somebody other than the deep men to field it, and that's Milson Jones, who is a running back, so it's not all bad for Saskatchewan, and he ran it back to the 47-yard line.
Excuse me, Dave. Not a bad technique that time. You kick that ball high and short, and remember, all your guys are on side. You call that a burner. There's a possibility you get a couple of fast guys. They might be able to run underneath that, especially if the Saskatchewan player bobbles it.
But Jones didn't, and the Riders have it at their 47-yard line, which they'll gladly take. 3 receivers one way. They run the ball that way, and McCray will get to the 50-yard line, give him 3.
Good job that time by the BC defense. They really emphasize in their scheme of things a team concept. In other words, all the linemen are taking a certain gap, controlling that gap. If the ball goes the other way, just control your gap because the ball carrier may come back to you.
Narcisse wide to the bottom of your screen against Thomas. McDonald the other way on Keith Gooch. Elgard still looking to catch a pass. We'll try to catch this one, and Ray Elgard beats Anthony Drawhorn. First catch for Elgard to the 38.
Anthony Drawhorn at 5'8" is going to have a tough time bringing Ray Elgard down, especially if he's going to try and grab him up around the head, up around the shoulders. He's just too big a man. He's too strong. If you're going to tackle him, you got to take him down around the legs if possible. You see that right here. Well, we give him a good shot in the face there. Surprised he didn't get called.
Elgard, of course, made a big gain on a fake punt in the first half, but that is his first reception. Fairholm has just one. Oh, Fairholm paid for an attempt at number 2 there. Good hitting. Rick Ryan coming up. Larry Crawford as well, and it is incomplete as you saw.
Larry Crawford, probably one of the most physical defensive halfbacks in the league. He really likes to come up and play very physical with the slot backs. And this time, Jeff Fairholm gives him some trouble at times. So this time he came up and just made him aware that I'm here. If you catch the ball, I'm going to be here, and I'm going to hit you.
Drawhorn is blitzing, and Burgess read it and hit Elgard, who's going to score. Ray Elgard with a romp to the end zone. Great read by Burgess as Drawhorn came, and Tom Burgess, who was praised by both coaches prior to this game for ability to read the blitz, read it perfectly.
That's precisely it. What happens is that Burgess reads at Alondra Johnson, the middle linebacker. He's threatening. He's standing up in there over the center. He looks like he's going to come. What happens is he drops into his coverage, doesn't get over there in time to help out with the underneath coverage on Ray Elgard.
Well, from nothing in the first half to 2 big catches in a scoring drive for Ray Elgard, and you knew Burgess wasn't going to ignore him all night. Convert by Ridgway, and back the Riders go to their largest lead of the game, 11 points.
Tom Burgess just, again, reads this so well that he sees Alondra John standing up in there, says this guy can't get back into that hook zone fast enough to cover that area on the underneath. Well read, well thrown.
Here's Narcisse, who was catching all the passes in the first half.
Yeah, he's just trying to, he does a good job actually of helping pick those guys right off Ray Elgard turns actually a pattern that you figure you might get 10, 12 yards, something like that. He turns that into a touchdown. It's a team concept, a team game. You help me by throwing a block. Maybe next time I'll help you by throwing a block.
Well, now the Riders have the Lions thinking. They burned them outside in the first half and go underneath now to Elgard, who says thanks to the guy who threw him the ball.
Ray Elgard is a Vancouver native. Always has big games in the Dome. It's always nice to come home and play well in front of family and friends.
Driving kickoff by the Riders. Wallace surging to the 40-yard line on the return. Pats Kevin Dixon, the former Lion in the back. Another look at last year's top Canadian in the CFL, Ray Elgard. Caught only one pass last week and has just 2 this week, but that second one was a big one.
I'm a little surprised they haven't tried to go to him a little bit more, get him up in the seam, working against some of the smaller defensive backs of the BC Lions.
One step for Dunnigan for the 41. Dangerous pass. Williams eluded 2 men. And the Riders should have played that differently, and Albert Brown knows it. He had a chance to intercept that ball.
He sure did. I think he's just so concerned about David Williams not getting behind him that he's playing the man more than he's playing the ball. He had the opportunity, and you see Williams are making a couple guys miss. Again, very dangerous when you can make that first man miss.
Well, he ran outside on Williams, and clearly the pass was coming inside. So he ran right by the ball. Anthony Parker gets very little. Wayne Drinkwalder makes his presence felt. James Curry helping out later.
If you can run a draw play against a 5-man line, get those 5 guys blocked, and get into the secondary, you might really go somewhere because there's only 2 linebackers there. Fortunately for Saskatchewan, Drinkwalder plays that really well. He just holds up the center and reads which way the back's going.
Williams juggled it and caught it and is close to a first down.
I think Matt Dunnigan feels he's got a good little rhythm going right now. He's looking for Williams. Don't be surprised either. If he may come back to the other side next time and see if they're not paying attention to Streeter. But you see Williams once again looking right away, just turns to the outside. The ball is thrown between the 2 defenders, juggles it a bit and hangs on.
John Coughlin remains out of the BC offensive line. This is 3rd down. We'll give you an injury update in a moment. Rather important call for Matt Dunnigan here. Takes it himself. Didn't get very much. But did get enough.
Going behind All-Star Gerald Roper, was an All-Canadian in 1988. At about 275 pounds, he should be able to pretty well move anybody out of there.
Right guard John Coughlin's ankle will keep him out of the rest of the game for BC, and Jeff Treflin has a possible broken wrist. So all of the problems that Saskatchewan has had at the linebacker spot, with Steve Crane out, with Dan Rasevich out, now Jeff Treflin, the unlikely replacement for those 2, has hurt himself and isn't going to come back in this game. Penalty flag thrown, as the ruling will be that Eric Streeter was hit early by Harry Skipper.
Well, I thought that Harry Skipper played that very well. He tried to time that hit just as the ball arrived. It's a judgment call on the ref. I guess I just wanted to make sure that instead of going to David Williams again, are they paying attention to the wide receiver to the other side? I thought Harry Skipper played that well. Maybe he just didn't time it up just quite exactly like he wanted to.
Couldn't be much closer, though. Williams outside on Brown, now cut inside. And they're wearing down Albert Brown with David Williams.
You know, Albert Brown over the course of the game is going to get tired with as much as they're working him, as much special teams as he has to do. Nothing fancy from Dunnigan this time. Just quick 1, 2, 3 steps. Williams just runs a little out. And what they're trying to do is get him the ball quickly and see if he can make a couple guys miss and perhaps break a big one.
Dunnigan sprints, has 3 men chasing him, pumps and throws it deep. Streeter's out of bounds, and that's fine with Dunnigan. He avoided the loss and comes back to call 2nd down. Anthony Parker's getting some treatment, and we're told that Tony Cherry's knee is a bit gimpy, although he will continue to play.
Yeah, Tony Cherry has a sprained knee, and that's going to limit their rushing attack a little bit. They may not be able to get outside as well as they'd like to, or Cherry stays in the game, may not be able to cut on that knee because the turf really makes those cuts very sharp.
Wes Cooper's in while Anthony Parker gets looked at. Dunnigan calling the signals and perhaps intending to bring the Saskatchewan Roughriders just like that. Didn't look to be any movement from BC, but obviously more than one rider jumped, and maybe it's because of the way Dunnigan was barking the signals. Now, there's a legal way to do that and an illegal way to do it. Nothing wrong with the way Dunnigan did it that time.
As BC moves into the area of the field that they call the score zone, about the 25-yard line in, Saskatchewan now is going to start playing the receivers a little bit tighter, a little bit more man-to-man. They're going to start bringing a little more heat on the quarterback. Unfortunately, when you blitz, you got to hang in there tough. They're getting antsy. It's a timing type of thing, and they're just over anxious. They got to relax in there and just play football.
Lions have a twisted ankle and a sprained knee in their backfield. Dunnigan will give it to Cherry. Diving for yardstick. He is out of bounds where? The Lions anxious to find out. It looks as though they will say he's short. He didn't look as quick as normal on that play, and
Anthony Parker that time threw a fine block. He really helps to make that offense go because he's a big guy. He's a good athlete. He moves well. Watch him here as he leads for Anthony Cherry on this play. He takes out Bobby Jurison's legs, enabling him to get outside. You see him reach there for that first down.
Knowing that a fumble ball in that case can't hurt him. In fact, it might have got him a bit of an advantage on the spot of the ball, though not a first down. They'll try to get it here with Cherry. Flag down. Cherry still on his feet, and he does not get in, although tries the same trick in the corner, but it's coming back. Penalty against BC. Anthony Parker's hopping mad at the call.
I guess it's against him. Well, there was nothing wrong with the way Tony Cherry moves to his right. He didn't look quite as efficient moving to his left, so perhaps that's the knee that's bothering him. But he looked really good moving to his right there. Had nice blocking in front of him, just took it off tackle and headed for the end zone.
Well, obviously third and short when you have a penalty and have to go third down again. It becomes third and long. And so the Lions are no longer gambling, or we don't think they are. Anyway, Louis Pasaglia's 34-yard field goal is up, and it is good, and the Lions get 3 points, but not the 7 that they appeared ready to get after Tony Cherry was out of the corner. Following Louis Pasaglia's field goal, Louis Pasaglia kicks off to Albert Brown. Lions keep him from getting outside and from getting to the 40-yard line. Larry Donovan has seen some things he likes tonight and obviously some things he doesn't like, and that pretty well sums up last week's game in Edmonton as well. The Lions down by 8, still very much in a position to win this game. 30 points would have won any of the first 4 games of this season last week, but it may take 40 to win this one. McCray, no room the first time. Tim McCray spins off and fumbles the ball ahead to Don Narcisse. Call out another completion for him.
Don Narcisse in the right place at the right time. That time Scott Leach probably had an opportunity to make the play, number 76 for the BC Lions. He stepped up inside, just didn't do a real good job of taking on the blocker. He got spun around, didn't see where the running back went. Larry Donovan was hoping for Scott Leach to have a better game this week than he had against Edmonton.
We both remember the time when in the CFL that gain by Narcisse wouldn't have been allowed, a fumble forward, although that wasn't intended by Tim McCray, but it comes up into a nice bounce for Saskatchewan. Here's McCray again.
Sweep play. 2 offensive linemen out front. The running back just follows the hogs of the offensive line. It's nothing too fancy. You just try to get those big men out front. Again, they don't have, all they have to do is run interference. They don't have to really kill anybody, crunch anybody. Just get out in front, make the defender try and go through you.
You're calling defensive signals for BC. It's a tough time right now deciding what Saskatchewan might do, because done a bit of everything and at different times and in different ways throughout this game. McRae starting to be used now. They used the wide receivers in the first half. Elgard in a touchdown drive. Burgess to Bobby Jurison, an unlikely receiver. Talk about using all the weapons. He carries Rick Ryan into the end zone. And they snuck Ken Austin into the game earlier. This time Bobby Jurison catches a touchdown pass.
Well, the rest of the Saskatchewan Roughriders this week in practice are going to have to listen to Bobby Jurison all week. Bobby has a lot of fun when he plays this game. Chris Walby calls him Wahoo because that's his type of attitude that he has. But he tries to give a little bit of a hesitation there and then take off. I think Bobby should just keep running, and they're not going to bring him down. He's not real tall, but very stocky and very powerfully built.
Ridgway's convert is good, and yeah, we've seen just about everything from the Saskatchewan offense tonight. BC Lions are now down by 15 points, wondering what's next from the Saskatchewan offense. But first, the Lions will have their turn with the ball. Darrell Wallace. Nice room for him. Flag, no. Lions already burned by a penalty call in their last offensive series. They're going to pay for this indiscretion on Wallace's return.
That kind of play really is going to frustrate Larry Donovan. He said last week we had a lot of mental breakdowns, stupid penalties. That was an example of one. On the touchdown here, nobody expects Bobby Jurison to be a receiver. He fakes like he's blocking down, releases off the line. He's wide open. The element of surprise works perfectly, and it's not the first time I don't think that he's done this.
Oh, he's got another touchdown in his career notes. Something like the Toaster Williams in Edmonton, and I guess there's nothing a lineman likes better than to score a touchdown, especially like that. I mean, you just didn't pick up the ball and fall on it and get 6 points. He ran a pattern and caught a pass and broke a tackle. Streeter by himself as the Lions hit right back with a long one over Harry Skipper.
It's good to diversify your offense, so this is what they have to do. Everybody's expecting David Williams to be getting the ball now. They're probably trying to rotate the coverage to David Williams to get him two guys on David Williams. So what does Matt Dunnigan do? He comes right back where he's got one-on-one coverage. Harry Skipper got turned around pretty good. Streeter, nice big gain.
To the Saskatchewan 52-yard line. 44 yards to that man, Eric Streeter. Williams, Brown causes a fumble. Dan Carinci alertly recovered it. Fumbles hurt the Lions last week. They lost 3 of them in Edmonton. They recovered that one, and David Williams, when he's not catching the ball, is dropping the ball.
Yeah, he's bobbled it a couple times tonight, and I don't know if that's just concentration, but what they're doing with him, you see the same pattern that he ran earlier. He's just a quick little out, and what he's trying to do is make the first guy miss and see if he can come back inside where he's got help.
Brown gave him a nice little shot from behind and hit the ball with his right arm. That popped it out of there. Dunnigan for a first down. Andrew Murray. You that there are minor injuries to both running backs. Tony Cherry is one. He's hit right at the line by Vince Goldsmith. So maybe we're going to see the Lions do more passing and less running as this game wears on.
Yeah, they seem to be content right now. It doesn't appear that Saskatchewan's going to let try to let David Williams get behind them. So all they're content. Albert Brown is content to give him the underneath type of stuff and hold him up till the rest of the defense gets over there and helps make the tackle.
Dunnigan rolling left. Williams is out there. So is Dan Carinci for a first down. So his last 4 passes have been to all 4 of his receivers.
He's hitting a nice rhythm right now. He's got to flow the game back, and this is important for the BC Lions. They've got to score some points here. What happens is he rolls out to his left. There seems to be some kind of a mix-up in the Saskatchewan secondary, and nobody had him. He was wide open unless it was Bobby Jurison, who just couldn't get over there in time.
Ritchie lines up along with David Williams to the left. Dunnigan has it. Screen wide open, Anthony Parker. Inside the 5-yard line. Nicely designed screenplay.
It sure was. Matt Dunnigan taking the ball again. He's starting to roll out a little bit more, trying to take some of that Saskatchewan pass rush off him. He brought the back across with him this time. And Jamie Buse, the replacement for John Coughlin, does a nice job. Hits, releases out front here. You see him get out in front of Parker and just literally crush, looks like Harry Skipper.
First and goal from the 4-yard line. Dunnigan throws it a long way. Williams catches it, and he had to struggle past the grasp of Albert Brown to do it. A flag was thrown.
Offside. Saskatchewan number 2.
Well, the Lions answer, and this is turning into quite an offensive show. Still 3.5 minutes left in the 3rd quarter.
Matt Dunnigan looking out. You see him looking over to his left where he's eventually going to end up throwing the ball. And all David Williams is at 6'4". He has about a 4-inch advantage, a height advantage over Albert Brown. Albert Brown had good coverage that time. David Williams just too big, knocks him off.
Well, here comes the 4th quarter, and if it's anything like the first 3, the offenses have not finished their scoring. Second down from the 30, a draw play to McCray. They hold him up, but might do it by grabbing the face mask. That's what the Riders are hoping. That's what the indication is from the officials.
Face mask, 44 BC. First down, Saskatchewan.
Trying to rub that cramp out of Richie Hall's leg. They got to get him back in there when it's time for the defense to go. They need him. A lot of experience there.
For that reason, the Riders would probably like to control the ball as long as possible, but they don't have that far to go before scoring a touchdown, so the priority is to get it in the end zone. From the 13-yard line, first down. Burgess will run. Not very far. He gets inside the 10.
Lots of time there for Tom Burgess. I guess he couldn't find anyone open. Superior coverage by the BC secondary. But you've got to be impressed with the Saskatchewan offensive line. They're just doing a tremendous job of keeping James Parker, Mac Moore, Rick Klassen, and Walter Ballard out. If you can do that to that group, then you're playing a fine game.
Well, you're right about what Larry Donovan must be thinking, too. The Lions are used to getting much more heat on the quarterback than we've seen tonight. And that certainly hasn't helped BC's defensive cause. Again with time, Burgess looking and throwing, and it is incomplete. Tried to hit Narcisse, who's been catching everything else thrown at him, but not that one.
Marcus Thomas actually does a fine job here of staying with the receiver, because the longer that Burgess has to throw that ball, the tougher it is for that defensive back to keep coverage on the receiver. See him just keeps working here, hangs on to him a bit. That's all right.
Dave Ridgway shouldn't miss this, and the Riders will take the 3 points to expand an 8-point lead. They missed one earlier, but isn't about to do it there, and so the score is 35-24. Tom Burgess didn't get the touchdown. The Riders got the field goal. This is Wallace on the kick return for BC. Darryl Wallace spilled, ball comes loose. Who's got it? Well, they say he was down, and BC keeps the ball, and the Riders won't like that.
No, they sure won't, because BC's got pretty good field position, and this is a good place for them to start a drive here. I think if you told both these coaches before the game that it'd be close to 60 points in offense scored, they said there's no way, because both these teams pride themselves on defense.
Well, that's 59 points with 13 minutes left. 59 might look like a small total when we're finished. Williams seeing two defensive backs out there now. Walker takes it short, Albert Brown deep, but they can still complete that one. He's got 8 catches, 7 last week, on his way to another big season, quite obviously.
I guess they figure if they're going to give us 5 or 6 yards every time on that little hitch type pass, we're going to take it.
Exactly. There's no hurry for BC. They're down 11 points, but all sorts of time left. This is Cherry running with the ball. Boy, heavy contact on the line, and what about that? Donovan Wright is into the game. This is the first-round draft pick from Slippery Rock. He just said hello to the league.
You could hear that crack of plastic shoulder pads and helmets all the way up here, and I can see why John Gregory's excited about this young fella. That was the best hit of the game to this point. Tremendous, tremendous hit.
One of 3 first-round picks, the only one the Riders have been able to sign. And it forces the Lions to punt. Unless they've got a trick up their sleeve. Sagley to Richie Hall. The cramp is gone. But he's just not going to run quite so far with this one. Still limping a little bit. Safer to go out of bounds and avoid another hit as he pats Alondra Johnson while passing.
John Gregory just wants to make sure that that catch is made. Probably Richie Hall has some of the surest hands on the team, and he's not so much concerned about the return as he is. Let's make sure we've got the ball. We don't want to turn over at any point now. It's still a fairly close game.
10 completions for 235 yards and 4 touchdowns. McCray, and a nice hole opens up. It closes rather quickly as Alondra Johnson takes McCray all the way out of bounds.
It was good offensive surge that time. It just nothing too fancy. Just get the handoff into the middle of the line. Alondra Johnson making the play, and Tim McCray showing surprising upper body strength. He couldn't bring him down. Looked like they're having a dance or something there.
Well, some running would help the team in the lead in a game like this, although the Riders, I don't think, want to back off too much on an offense that has been explosive all night long. Burgess running. He's a bit short of the first down, perhaps.
He sees that middle open up. The Saskatchewan offensive line, they're doing a fine job of widening the pocket. The quarterback likes that because he doesn't have guys closing in on him. He's got a good field of vision downfield. He can see everything developing. He figured he was close enough this time he was going to take it himself, but I'm sure John Gregory says that's why we pay Milson Jones. And
well, they really hope to have the first down. I don't think they want to be gambling here. They are just short. Burgess indicates by how much, and it looks as though the Riders are going to try to keep the football and keep the clock moving. The big men go in. That's Curry and Lewis. Kevin Dixon is another back to join Jones and McCray, and Burgess will probably keep it himself, although this doesn't always work as automatically as you think. They don't have much to get. Burgess sneaks underneath and would appear to have it without trouble. Tim McCray thinks so. So does Ken Lazaruk, and he's the one that counts. John Gregory breathes a sigh of relief.
Makes John Gregory happy. Control that ball. Let's eat some time up off that clock. Keep our defense off the field, especially when we're a little bit thin there right now. And they've got to be happy with that graphic right there. 161 yards rushing. That's a good, nice production in the CFL.
It's part of what Gregory means when he calls McCray the key to his offense beyond the quarterback, of course. Wilson Jones will try to pick up some. Does so nicely.
On that play, you saw the Saskatchewan offensive line. Everybody take off to the right. Everybody's going to the right. Milson Jones gets the ball that way. What happens is, though, the BC defense overruns that play. He just bends it back where there's no, all the pursuit has gone over to the other side of the ball. He just bends it back and takes it upfield for a nice gain.
Moving the ball and keeping the ball, terrific for Saskatchewan, and also resting the defense is a priority right now. And if they can move the ball down and get some points, so much the better as the clock ticks away. So all sorts of things working for the Riders now. Burgess chased by Koner, throws it back, and the ball is picked off by Elgard. Anthony Drawhorn reached for it. Elgard's hands were bigger.
I'm sure Anthony Drawhorn figures that ball's a phantom. He had terrific coverage on Ray Elgard that time. It's just Tom Burgess was able to throw that ball to the spot. You see Elgard break down here, find the open area as Burgess is scrambling. I can't believe he missed that. I'm sure he can't either.
A dangerous pass when you look at it on that replay, but Elgard grabbed it. Burgess again, no heat, down the middle, Fairholm TD.
Jeff Fairholm working against Larry Crawford. Larry Crawford had a man-to-man, was off the ball pretty good that time. Fairholm just runs down, runs a post pattern. Burgess has lots of time to read this. Beautifully thrown. It's the way they do it in practice. Doesn't get any nicer than that. Very impressive Saskatchewan drive there.
Well, some run sets up the pass, and just when you think they're forgetting about the slot backs, they hit them 2 in a row. Elgard and Fairholm, and it's now 42 for the Saskatchewan Roughriders, 24 for the BC Lions. Don't go away, 8:44 left. Jeff Fairholm gets into the act, and Saskatchewan leads by 18 points with 8 minutes and 44 seconds remaining. And Ron Lancaster, if you're watching, you now share the club record for touchdown passes in a game with Joe Barnes and this man, Tom Burgess. This is his 5th of the game, and that record was first established by Lancaster in 1966. More excitement on the return. Darrell Wallace up to the 45 and a yard beyond. The fans still with BC's offense, but a bit disgruntled by the way this man has shredded the defense. And we continue to look at completions for yardage and touchdowns. He's only 50% through the air, but forget that. The rest of it spells victory to this point for Saskatchewan.
John Gregory felt, I've got to go with a hot hand, and boy, what a coaching decision that was.
Lions keep moving it. Dunnigan to Andrew Murray. And there's no team in this league that should consider a lead safe, but especially the Saskatchewan Roughriders, who proved last week what can happen. So they're not going to sit on an 18-point lead and think this is over with 8 minutes to go. Streeter reached high and did a better job eluding tackles. One by Richie Hall. A pretty good grab on him by Harry Skipper.
BC in their hurry-up offense right now. They're calling the plays on the line of scrimmage. You can see Dunnigan yelling out the play, telling everybody what their assignment is.
Well, they're short passes, but they wind up being good gains. Carinci to the 30-yard line. They'll rule him down at about the 31.
Maybe they should have gone to that a little earlier. They seem to have a lot of success with this right now.
Flags down. Riders are offside, it appeared. Again, a short pass to Andrew Murray. He's going to make those tacklers come to him. The flag stops the clock, which is just fine, although they're going to say illegal motion against BC and not offside Saskatchewan.
Larry Donovan, again, emphasizing that the mental mistakes.
Legal procedure, BC number 69, first down repeated.
There are penalties that you make because of hard play. There are penalties you make because you're not concentrating. Those hurt BC last week. They're hurting them right now.
12 penalties last week for the Lions at Edmonton. Dunnigan under a rush, flag down. Looks like holding back there. Dunnigan, though, masterfully getting away, and the pass is caught, apparently, by Cherry, but back where Dunnigan started. Ken Lazaruk says we have something to talk about.
Could be number 65. Gerald Roper was called that time on holding.
Number 65 BC. First down, repeat it.
One more penalty for Larry Donovan to remember when assessing this game.
Gerald Roper here working against James Curry, who just uses a slip pass rush technique. He turns his body sideways, slips past the offensive lineman. He has to hold him to keep him off Dunnigan.
Well, the Lions going in the other direction, and the clock, well, they can't turn it around. Williams taken down by Albert Brown. And now we got some rough stuff behind the play as all sorts of Lions are in there. It's James Curry, you'd guess. Gerald Roper as well.
James Curry smells blood, as do the rest of the Saskatchewan defensive linemen. They know BC has to pass. They're not even worried about the run right now.
Ejection of conduct. Number 19 BC.
They call Anthony Parker, and another penalty goes. John, who's John Gregory talking about? His own team for using that, or the other team for not?
Seems to be in a sarcastic expression to me. I don't know.
Well, Parker went to help out, or so he thought, and clearly he didn't do that.
Those types of things are drive killers. You don't get any momentum, continuity in your offense going when you're constantly having penalties to fight against.
Dunnigan gets some time and throws it deep, wide open. Streeter for the touchdown.
Streeter, they're worried about Harry Skipper over there falling asleep maybe against Eric Streeter. They hadn't gone to him much tonight, but they've gone to him where it really counted. He was beat pretty badly. Matt Duggan just back in his back pedal, looking at both sides of the field, steps up to avoid the rush a little bit, sees Streeter wide open. He probably can't believe it. They need that one, and it's an important one at this juncture in the game.
1 point convert. Lead is 11 points, and still lots of time. 6:02 remaining. This story is still in hardcover edition. There's so much there. Burgess with all those passes. Dunnigan has some too. Narcisse and Williams have been catching TD tosses. Total offense over 900 yards. Dunnigan screens. Good move by Parker. But he couldn't keep dodging out of the way. Tom Burgess looks up, hopes that clock keeps moving. 2:43 now.
Burgess has had a fine game. I kind of feel sorry for Ken Austin. He may never see the field again after that type of a performance.
Well, he's been perfect. He was asked to hand the ball off to Elgard once, and he did it very well. Streeter from Dunnigan. Near those yardsticks. Streeter wanted to get out with a first down.
Looks like they're going to try to go into their hurry up offense and actually try to run a short yardage play out of that.
Well, it's third down, and that's why they're doing that. The ball right at midfield.
Well,
Streeter did not get the first down.
They're going to huddle him.
Williams won't bother joining it. 2:37 to go. Watch Williams, they say. No, Dunnigan hands off. Cherry dives for the first down. But it's one more play they have to run along the way, and they don't have the time to run too many extra plays. Parker stays down, and that keeps the clock stopped at 2 minutes and 34 seconds remaining.
Anthony Cherry tried to jump over the top of the pile that time to get the first down. He was He was met in the air by David Albright, the middle linebacker, a very active middle linebacker for the Saskatchewan Roughriders, who we haven't seen as much of him tonight. Could be that his leg injury, he hurt a muscle in his leg, has been bothering him some, but he's always among the leaders in tackles in the CFL every year.
Well, Saskatchewan has some explanation for what's happened to its defense. They knew that they had some problems coming into this game, and especially playing a team as explosive as BC. The Lions are going to have to search for more answers about what has happened to their defense tonight, because they are not injured in any way, and yet they have been shredded.
I think the biggest problem is that if you talk to Larry Donovan after the game, he's going to say, I would have liked more pass rush. I didn't have enough pass rush. I don't expect my defensive backs to check those receivers all day or all night.
Well, and the report card of the defensive line, too, will have to reflect the running game of Saskatchewan, which has eaten up too many yards for BC's liking. Parker stays down. The Saskatchewan defenders are happy for the breather, too. The Lions have more time to consider their options. They have a first down just inside Saskatchewan territory. 2:34 to go. Those are the coaches, Donovan and Bob Vespasiani, downstairs. Two new additions to the coaching staff, Joe Powell and Jim Young, along with Steve Barato, looking and talking upstairs. And there's no winner and loser yet. Parker still isn't off the field. Dunnigan's ready to start the play because doesn't want time off that clock from the Saskatchewan 53s. Looking to Williams. Now he's looking to stay alive, and there is no eligible receiver where he threw that ball.
You saw Ian Sinclair on the other side of the field, thought he was a receiver. Of course, Sinclair didn't want to touch that ball. Effective job of coverage by the Saskatchewan defense that time. The man-to-man, and they did a little bit of clutching and grabbing on the slot backs, but it was effective. Dunnigan had to pull that ball down. The rush got to him.
Long run for Williams and Streeter, who were way downfield. It's the other ankle that is troubling Anthony Parker now. Here comes the rush. Dunnigan turns, throws. Ball is caught. Again, near a first down.
Sent Eddie Ray Walker that time on a halfback blitz. Fortunately, when Dunnigan rolled, he saw it coming, and it was picked up like it's supposed to be picked up, and he had time to find the receiver in the seam.
Parker's coming back for another third down play. And they're in the huddle when the clock starts. So again, it's a play that the Lions would rather not have to run. They get the first down to 40, but a few more seconds leave the clock. 2:10 remaining now. The Lions are running these plays off pretty quickly. They're not huddling except where necessary. They still got 40 yards to go, and don't forget they need to score twice. They're 11 points down. Dunnigan steps up, throws it. This is Williams for the touchdown.
Well, if you need some points scored, I guess it's the best thing to do is go to your tried and true weapon. And Matt Dunnigan looks to his left, looks downfield. He's going to go for pay dirt all in one shot. Once again, Albert Brown got beat on a post pattern. 6 points.
And they're going to go for 2 on the convert. They're down by 5 with 2 minutes and 2 seconds remaining. If they make this, then it sets up the field goal in the final 2 minutes, possibly to tie the game. And it's picked off, and they can get 2 points if they score here. Albert Brown running. He's trying to score 2 points. He won't do it, but he does prevent the tooth, BC. I don't know that since this rule has been put into the CFL that we have ever seen a team come down and score 1 or 2 points after defending the convert. But Albert Brown had a shot to do it there.
See the 2-point attempt here. Just going to hit. Just going to hit Carinci on the out. Brown reads that very well, takes off. And probably not so much ran out of field, but perhaps ran out of gas. That's been a busy young man tonight. Show the touchdown, David Williams. Nothing too fancy, just straight down the field. And he keeps moving towards the post, gaining separation from Albert Brown, who had to do a better job of coming over and closing that separation.
Well, Brown would prefer to intercept the pass that is thrown on a normal play, if you will, and not on a convert. There's Williams' numbers. He had 3 touchdowns here in a game against Saskatchewan last year that the Lions lost. He's got 3 again tonight and 1 more reception this year than in last year's game. Albert Brown still down. He didn't get the 2 points. He ran out of gas. He's already tired, and now he's hurt.
Probably has a cramp once again. The athletic therapists for both teams will start the fellows are drinking extra water, taking their potassium tablets usually 2-3 days before they come to play here, because of the fact that it is a warm place to play. And I mentioned earlier in the night that especially late in the year when it's cold on the prairies and you're used to breathing that cold air, and you come in here late in the year and play a game, by the end of the first quarter you have a real hard time catching your breath.
Well, in the first quarter, Albert Brown might have taken that all the way, but he's just too tired to run 110 yards with his usual speed. He did prevent the 2-point convert. Here's Pasaglia's kickoff. He does kick it deep. 2:02 left. Well, looks as though the Riders thought there was something short coming. Narcisse carrying the ball rather dangerously, running around. The convert, let's make this point, while Brown was returning the intercepted convert, no time ran off the clock, of course, which is customary on a convert. So there's still almost 2 full minutes left. And BC likes that part of what happened on the 2-point try. Burgess trying to get some enthusiasm back into the Saskatchewan offense. The crowd in the game now as never before. Trying to bring the Lions all the way back. They were down 18 points in this 4th quarter. Good running by Timmy McRae. He is close to a first down. He won't have it, but he is close enough to set up 2 more plunges and 2 more plays with that clock moving for Saskatchewan.
Milson Jones did a fine job that time of blocking down, sealing off the outside, just letting Tim McRae bounce it to the outside.
Sorry, it is a first down for Saskatchewan. I thought they were slightly short, but they do have it. This is Jones. They got to know that a run is coming, and there are all sorts of Lions there to meet him. He does stay in bounds. A smart play on Milson Jones' part not to go out of bounds, take the hit, or hits is the case there at the 50-yard line. 1:27 left.
I don't want to pick on Scott Leach, but they seem to be going towards him a lot. His inexperience, I guess, is starting to tell here. He allowed himself to go down too far inside that time, and all Milson Jones did was just broke it outside of him.
Well, Burgess will probably have to throw this one to try to keep the ball. Still over a minute to go. Flags down. Burgess throws. He completes to Elgard. The penalty, though, is going to be crucial. The illegal procedure against Saskatchewan is the initial indication. The Lions are clapping, and against Elgard is the call made, apparently.
What Ray Elgard and most slot backs for the Saskatchewan.
81. 2nd down, repeat it.
What Ray Elgard and the other slots in the Saskatchewan Roughriders try to do is they get some depth and they try to hit the line of scrimmage running. That time Ray didn't get it quite timed up the way he wanted to. He was open, but the penalty was on him. 2
problems. His completion is wiped out and the clock is stopped because of the penalty. 1:03 to go. 2nd and 13. Another flag. Burgess is rocked and sacked. And for such little pressure all game long, the Lions get to him at an important time with 58 seconds on the clock. Another penalty against Saskatchewan, but the Lions will gladly decline this because the Riders must punt the ball.
Legal procedure. That one declined. Third down.
You can credit that sack to the defensive secondary, the BC Lions. They covered their man. There was just absolutely no one open. You see Bridges had plenty of time to release his ball. Finally, the pocket collapses around him. Big Mac Moore laying right on top of him.
BC has called timeout. At least that's what Ken Lazarick said. Now, I have no idea why the Lions would do that. Saskatchewan was confused and didn't have enough men on the field. And if anybody had to call timeout, it would have been Saskatchewan. However, he indicated it was against BC.
If that's the case, that's again a mental error that Larry Donovan, I'm sure, is just cringing at the thought of.
Well, I prefer to think that Saskatchewan was the team that called the timeout. BC had no reason to do it there.
Right.
41,000 people were here at the start. Largest crowd of this young CFL season. Nice punt by Baker. Wallace, 26-yard line. Still on his feet. Stays inbounds. Nice running by Wallace. We have confirmation that the Lions called a timeout. So with 44 seconds left, they have the ball, but they do not have the ability to stop the clock with a timeout.
That timeout was called because they had the wrong specialty team on the field.
45-yard line. They are 65 yards from a winning touchdown. Cherry is all by himself. He stays in bounds and on his feet to the 45 of Saskatchewan. 35 seconds remaining. Boy, could this happen to Saskatchewan after what they did to Calgary last week? Clock moves. Dunnigan goes back. Boy, they're dead tired on defense for Saskatchewan. The ball is caught. No, they say not caught by Streeter. He doesn't agree, and Andrew Murray is there to argue as well.
Lions better watch it. They're going to get a misconduct penalty for arguing the point too strenuously.
Well, let's see.
Good protection. The defensive linemen are, you can tell they're really tired. Well, I thought it was good. I don't think he scooped it.
The only good part for BC, the clock stopped. As you can see, 26 seconds to go. Dunnigan hit, throws as he goes, and Williams has it and drops it. It's an incompletion. It is an incomplete pass. Eddie Ray Walker probably shouldn't have assumed that. He had better picked up the ball and run with it, but Williams never had it according to the official, so he's had a great game catching the ball, but he's dropped a few tonight. And
yeah, you've seen him bubble the ball somewhat tonight.
I think he had the ball.
He took 2 or 3 steps there. That was a fumble, and that should have been a turnover there.
But Walker didn't make the right play when he picked it up. Had he run, maybe he could have influenced the call. Anyway, here we are, third down for the 45 with 19 seconds to go. Dunnigan chased, looking, he's still going to run back there. Time running off the clock. He's still going, he throws it, and it is incomplete. Saskatchewan takes over the football with 7 seconds remaining.
An incredible finish. Matt Dunnigan's athletic ability kept that last play going. The receivers are trying to work themselves open. They just couldn't find anyone open. An incredible finish.
Boy, the Rider defenders are picking themselves off the turf and are simply too tired to be happy about what just occurred.
Gary Lewis 2, 3 times had an opportunity to get Matt Dunnigan. Here comes Vince Goldsmith. They're just, you say they're dog tired. The ball was overthrown. I'm sure Matt Dunnigan was tired himself. Couldn't really get himself set, planted to throw the ball as properly as he wanted that time.
Well, you simply can't pack more excitement into a football game than we've seen tonight. And the Saskatchewan Roughriders, well, we won't say it yet. 7 seconds to go. This snap could be fumbled, I suppose, but Burgess took a hit from Scott Leach, and everybody's too tired to worry about that. 5 seconds left. They'll do that one more time and then go away with a victory that appeared safely theirs early in the 4th quarter, and then, but for David Williams' bobbling of the football, was almost taken away from them.
I guess you have to call these games morale builders, character builders.
John Gregory was praising the CFL as the only league in which last week's comeback could have occurred, and he was almost ready to wonder whether it was